Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something, well, honestly, a little bit different. We are going to do a microscopic deconstruction of just one incredibly brief digital artifact. It's the kind of thing you'd normally scroll right past in a fraction of a second, but we're going to slow down and unpack the immense amount of cultural storytelling packed in to just a handful of words. Okay, let's dive into this. I want you to take a second and just absorb this exact unedited string of source text right here. The Spoiled Princess Love Urdu Hindi Fairy Tales. It kind of looks like a standard search string, right? Or maybe a metadata tag. But actually, it's this brilliant little window into exactly how Urdu narratives manage to hook readers immediately. Everything we're going to talk about today, the tropes, that intense emotional pull, the cultural blending, it's all pulled directly from these few words. It's a fascinating look at how modern digital storytelling grabs our attention before the story even really starts. Section 1. Title. The subject. Subtitle, the princess archetype. So, who is the spoiled princess? Just let that question hang in the air for a second. In traditional Urdu and Hindi tales, royalty is, usually depicted as super noble, self-sacrificing, deeply pious, or maybe even remarkably tragic. But here, before we get literally any other context, no setting, no plot, no sidekicks, we are handed this highly specific, slightly provocative character dynamic. Is she a total tyrant to her subjects? Is she about to face a harsh reality check? By subverting that classic expectation of the selfless royal, this narrative framework hooks us instantly. Our minds are already racing to fill in those blanks, anticipating all the juicy conflict and growth that just has to follow. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the literal combination of these two words sets up a whole narrative premise purely from a title. Think about it. You take princess, a noun that is totally loaded with our universal expectations of elegance and duty and classic storytelling traditions, and then you directly modify it with spoiled, an adjective that instantly introduces conflict and character flaws. In just two words, the creator has bypassed pages and pages of exposition. We have our protagonist, and we inherently know she's got a behavioral problem that needs solving. It's an incredibly efficient way to establish narrative tension right out of the gate. Let's move to and see how this builds into section 2. Title, the medium. Subtitle, Urdu and Hindi together. Look at the explicit cross-linguistic nature of this text. Over on the left, we've got the exact phrasing love Urdu, juxtaposed directly with Hindi on the right. And guys, this is a huge clue into how these digital artifacts hook their readers so well. See, Urdu narratives are historically famous for this intense emotional depth, sweeping romance, and gorgeous, highly poetic dialogue. By explicitly placing love Urdu right next to Hindi, this text is casting a massive, culturally inclusive net. It promises that distinct poetic emotional hook of an Urdu narrative, but strategically packages it for the wider, deeply intertwined Hindi-speaking audience. It's drawing from two incredibly rich linguistic traditions at the exact same time. And this brilliantly illustrates how digital storytelling works in practice. Look at that forward slash right there. In the context of a search string or a title, it acts as a literal bridge. It doesn't function as a wall to separate Urdu and Hindi. Instead, it links them together. It tells the viewer, hey, this content exists simultaneously in both cultural spaces. It honors the specific stylistic traditions of Urdu storytelling while totally embracing the massive reach of a Hindi-speaking audience. It's just a simple typographical choice, but it unites two massive cultural spheres. Pretty cool, right? Now let's zoom all the way out to section 3. Title, the genre. Subtitle, defining the fairy tale. Right here at the end, we have the explicit genre classification, fairy tales, and notice that harsh double vertical bar closing the string. In digital spaces, sure, this is a standard way to bracket tags or organize metadata. But visually, it acts to firmly box in the genre. It tells the reader exactly what rules this story is going to play by. All the magic, the clear moral lessons, the sweeping character arcs you expect from a fairy tale, they are contained right here in this box. It gives us a comfortable, recognizable framework for the conflict we were promised back when we read the words spoiled princess. So, the crucial point is how three completely distinct elements are densely packed into this one short string. First, the character archetype is established right away with the spoiled princess. Second, the linguistic context broadens the emotional and cultural appeal with love Urdu Hindi. And third, the overarching genre anchors our narrative expectations with fairy tales. It's such a great example of how modern creators use digital brevity to deliver character, audience, and genre in just a few keystrokes. They're making absolutely sure the audience is hooked before the first true sentence of the story is even read. By blending the intense emotional hooks characteristic of Urdu narratives with a universally understood character trope, this brief digital artifact doesn't just, categorize a piece of media. No, it actively sparks our imagination. It proves that sometimes the smallest strings of text hold the keys to the largest worlds. So, the only question left to ask is, what exactly awaits a spoiled princess in a world like this?